The first thing she noticed was his shoes. Not because they were expensive, because they were wrong, caked in dirt, torn at the sides, the soles flapping slightly as he stepped. Through the diner's front door like a man who had nowhere left to go, but they didn't match the rest of him. His posture was too straight, his eyes too steady. Even beneath the scruff and exhaustion, there was something intact. Still, the bell above the door jingled the same way it did for everyone else. And inside Rosie's all-night diner on the edge of downtown Chicago, no one cared who you used to be, only who you were at 11:47 p.m. Lila Moreno was balancing 3 plates on one arm when she saw the hostess freeze. The man stood near the entrance, hands tucked into the sleeves of an oversized coat. A few customers glanced up, then down again. One woman subtly pulled her purse closer. The hostess leaned toward Lila. "We're closing in an hour." Lila looked at the man. He looked back. There was no anger in his face. No shame either, just quiet hunger. "I'll take him," Lila said softly. She wiped her hands on her apron and walked over. Up close, she could see the lines on his face. Stress lines, not street lines. His beard looked recently grown, not permanently neglected, but the coat smelled faintly of cold air and pavement. "Table for one?" she asked gently. He hesitated, as if surprised she was asking at all. "Yes," he said. His voice was deep, controlled, educated. She led him to the booth near the window where the heater worked best. "Kitchen closes in 45 minutes, she said, "but I'll make sure you get something hot." He studied her face, searching for something. Pity, maybe, or disgust. He found neither. "My name's Lila," she added. "What can I get you?" He opened the menu, though his eyes didn't seem to focus on it. "What's cheapest?" She didn't answer right away. Instead, she closed the menu gently. "What sounds good?" she asked. He looked up at her again. "Coffee," he said finally. "Black?" She nodded and walked away. At the counter, her co-worker Jason muttered, "You know he's not going to pay, right?" Lila poured the coffee anyway. "Then I guess I'm paying," she replied. Jason stared at her. "You barely made rent last week." "I know." And she did. Lila worked double shifts while finishing her senior year of high school online. Her mom cleaned offices overnight. Her little brother Mateo needed asthma medication that wasn't cheap. Some weeks, it felt like they were holding their lives together with duct tape and prayer. But hunger? Hunger she understood. She returned with the coffee and a bowl of chicken noodle soup. "I didn't order this," he said. "I know," she replied lightly. "It's on special." He glanced at the menu again. There was no special listed. Their eyes met. "You don't have to do that," he said quietly. "Yeah," she answered, "I do." For a moment, something flickered in his expression. Not pride, not relief, recognition. He picked up the spoon and ate like a man who hadn't in a while. Over the next 30 minutes, Lila checked on him the way she checked on every table, refilling his coffee, bringing extra crackers, sliding a slice of pie onto the table without announcing it. "Homemade," she said. "Best thing we've got." He stared at the pie like it was something sacred. "Why?" he asked. She shrugged. "Because it's Tuesday." That almost made him smile. Outside, the city wind howled against the windows. Inside, something quieter shifted. When he finished, he reached into his coat and pulled out a worn leather wallet. He opened it slowly. It was empty. He looked up at her. "I'm sorry," he said, and this time the apology sounded real. Lila glanced toward the counter. Jason was watching. She reached for the check. "It's taken care of," she said. He held her gaze. "By who?" "By someone who knows what it's like." He swallowed hard. "You don't even know me." She gave a small, tired smile. "I don't need to." He stood slowly. "I don't have anywhere to go tonight," he said, not as a plea, just a fact. The words hung between them. Lila's heart squeezed. Every instinct told her to be careful. She was 17. The world wasn't always kind, but something about him didn't feel dangerous. It felt broken. "There's a shelter 3 blocks east," she said. "St. Mary's. They won't turn you away." He nodded. Then he did something unexpected. He pulled a small silver pen from his pocket and scribbled something on a napkin. "If you ever need help," he said, sliding it toward her, "call this number." She glanced at the napkin. It was just a 10-digit phone number, no name. "Okay," she said politely, folding it into her apron. He hesitated once more, then walked out into the cold. The bell jingled behind him. Jason hurried over. What did he give you? Nothing, Lila said. She didn't look at the napkin again that night. But the man did not go to St. Mary's shelter. Instead, he walked 3 blocks west, where a black SUV waited in the shadows. The driver stepped out immediately. Mr. Callahan? Not here, the man said sharply. He removed the coat. Underneath, the fabric of his shirt was unmistakably custom-tailored. Daniel Callahan, CEO of Callahan Technologies, worth just over $3 billion, slid into the back seat and closed his eyes. Well? His assistant asked from the front. Daniel stared at the diner's glowing sign in the distance. She paid, he said quietly. The assistant blinked. Sir? She paid for everything. He had spent the last month moving anonymously through his own city. Sleeping in shelters, standing in food lines, being ignored, judged, pushed aside. He had built an empire on innovation and efficiency, but somewhere along the way, he'd stopped understanding the people his company claimed to serve. Tonight had been another test. Most restaurants had turned him away before he reached the door. One had threatened to call the police. But Lila, she hadn't hesitated. She hadn't asked for proof. She had simply chosen kindness. Daniel leaned back. Find out everything about her, he said. The next morning, Lila was late for school because Mateo's inhaler ran out. Again. She spent her lunch break on hold with the pharmacy, trying to negotiate a payment extension. That afternoon, Rosie called her into the office. There's someone here asking for you. Lila's stomach dropped. In the dining room stood a man in a navy suit that probably cost more than her family's monthly rent. Clean-shaven, polished, powerful. It took her a full 3 seconds to recognize him. Her breath caught. You, she whispered. Daniel Callahan smiled gently. Yes, he said, me. The entire diner had gone silent. Jason nearly dropped a coffee pot. Lila's mind raced. Are you in trouble? He shook his head. No, he said. I'm here because of you. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a check. Rosie gasped. It was made out to Rosie's all-night diner for $250,000. For renovations, Daniel said. And employee bonuses. Jason let out a strangled noise. Lila stared at him. Why? Because you fed me when you had every reason not to. He handed her another envelope. Inside was a scholarship letter, full tuition to any university in Illinois, plus a separate check made out to her mother, covering medical expenses for Mateo. Her hands started shaking. You followed me? She asked softly. I wanted to understand who you were, he replied. You didn't help me because I was someone important. You helped me because you thought I wasn't. Tears blurred her vision. I was just doing my job. No, Daniel said gently. You were doing something much rarer. The room felt too small for the moment. I can't accept this, she whispered, even as her heart screamed yes. He stepped closer. Yes, he said. You can. There were cameras outside now, news vans. Daniel hadn't approved, but hadn't stopped either. Because the world needed to see this, not him. You reminded me, he said quietly, so only she could hear. What my company is supposed to stand for. Starting next month, we're launching a national program. Community meal funding, healthcare grants, education support. In your name? Her eyes widened. In my name? The Lila Initiative, he confirmed. She covered her mouth. I didn't do this for recognition. I know, he said. That's exactly why you deserve it. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Then Lila did something that shocked everyone watching. She stepped forward and hugged him. Not the polished CEO. Not the billionaire. The tired man who had sat alone in a booth with empty pockets. He froze. Then slowly, he hugged her back. The diner erupted in applause. And outside, across television screens and social media feeds across the country, a different kind of headline began to spread. Teen waitress feeds homeless man changes a billionaire's heart. But the real story wasn't about money. It was about a bowl of soup, about a slice of pie on a Tuesday night, about a 17-year-old girl who had every reason to hold tight to what little she had and chose to give anyway. Weeks later, when reporters asked Lila how it felt to become a symbol of kindness, she shrugged shyly. My mom always says, she told them, You never know who someone is, but you always know who you are. And somewhere in a corner office overlooking the Chicago skyline, Daniel Callahan kept a single paper napkin framed on his wall. On it, in rushed handwriting, was a 10-digit phone number. A reminder that the most powerful thing in the world isn't wealth. It's humanity.